For the fourth consecutive day, finally, the market bled with the ASI shedding 1% day on day and shedding almost 4% week on week to close at 22,353. There were 19 gainers, 52 losers, and 66 stocks traded flat. Volume spiked, however, 59% day on day and 18% week on week to close at 796 million. Of all stocks traded, the key gainers were Livestock Feeds, Starcoms, and Total, while amongst the key losers were Diamond Bank, Unity Bank, and Eternal Hub. Finally.
Well, take us through why it showed losses today on the bourse.
Yeah, what we may have seen was a case of profit taking gone wild. Profit takers in the market took profit and basically spooked other investors, while a lot of investors still stayed on the sideline. What we think we are seeing is a lot of predatory capital on the sideline, with the second phase of the banking reform really playing a major role in the uncertainty we still have in the market. What a lot of analysts had hoped for was after the end of phase one, last week Friday, of the banking reforms, we had expected to see some stability in the market. But what we think might be spooking the market is a lot of mixed results coming from the banking sector, where a lot of them are now in the phase two, cleaning up of their books. That we believe may be spooking the market for a while. Any investor right now hoping for stress-free investing might as well maybe be in Wonderland. What we think we may see going forward for next week, the market trading sideways or may even gain, but will remain extremely sensitive to the mixed result coming from the banking sector and may even head south in some cases. So we would say investors should be mindful of that. But right now, anybody still seeking value should be looking at the Nigerian market. Finally.
Well, let's take a look at the banking sector. Which banking stocks dropped the most this week?
This week, we think PHB was the candidate, given the takeover. So they're still reeling from that effect. We also think a lot of the wider effect of that uncertainty that is creeping back in, given the mixed result and how much NPL we hit the market, will remain for some time to come. We think maybe in the next 3 months down the line, when banks have declared their full year results, and we know how much hit and how much erosion to equity we would see, stability will return into the market.
Which banking stocks would you put your money on for next week?
While buying conflict of interest, yours truly would rather put his capital in his own bank. I think UBA remains a key play. Another bank we think is a key play is GT Bank. We think PHB might be an interesting play after digital investors have fled that stock. Yeah.
And are you seeing signs of institutional investors coming back into the bourse next week?
Well, from our vantage point, where we remain one of the key gateways for investment capital, we do see that. But we do see a lot of inflows coming in. That, of course, has also played into the strengthening of the naira. But what we think is a lot of that is not going straight into the market. A lot of that may be going into the money market, while investors still wait out and see how much effect the banking sector reform would have on the market.
So, would you say that investors are optimistic about the Nigerian market currently?
I think shrewd investors are. Any shrewd investor will go where there's blood on the streets. So we think shrewd investors are. We think your average Joe is, of course, still spooked in the market. We don't expect to see the average Joe come back in this quarter. We think the average Joe may begin to stream back in first half of next year. So we think even for the shrewdest of investors, they've already inflowed their capital. Some of them have already inflowed their capital, but that capital is still staying. What they're waiting for is probably the bottom. And when that bottom does come in, you may see a sharp rise in the ASI. Finally.
And just before we go, give us an outlook for the naira.
The naira, we think, is an interesting play. We think if the naira was left to pure market forces, we think we'll see a significant appreciation. But we think what we have here is the government playing a tactical role, where they would rather see the naira stay at maybe about 150 levels. In order to do that, of course, they have to constantly undersupply the market, which is what we've seen this past week. So we think that may remain. That said, we still think a lot of foreign capital coming into the country will continue to apply an upward pressure on the naira, while the government will try and play down. The government has an outlook on inflation that, okay, towards this quarter there's been very good rain, so inflation may go down. As such, they see headroom for them to borrow up the government's revenues by keeping the naira weak. So we think that may be what they're trying to play. So, by and large, I would say the naira may stay between 145 and 155, that band.